Boradar and Croesawy Cymru, and I welcome you all back to Wales. Now today I find myself on the shores of Lake Bala, which just perched over from the Berwyns mountains and facing on towards ERYRI and ERYRI, the beginning of ERYRI Snowdonia. Now like many parts of Wales, inland waters and streams and rivers hold stories and legends that are tied to it. And here you will find very much the same. So sit tight, and I hope you enjoy the story that has been passed down for generations about the legend of Tegid's great drinking hole, lost to the waters of time. Now legend has it, submerged underneath these waters, a story that has nearly been lost to the mists of time, lies a great drinking hole, home to a prince called Tegid. This great drinking hall gains a reputation like no other. It was said that the wine, the mead and the meat that passed through this hall became legendary. The merrymaking within this hall would even bring the richest men of Rome to their knees. But unfortunately, Tegid's reputation as a generous, welcoming host was not extended to the lower classes of his own people. In fact, the name of Tegid gave a bitter taste to all those that were subjected to his rule. Tegid, whilst he celebrated with fine meats and wines, his people starved in famine. And when the winters were hard, there was not cause for celebrations, Tegid would take it upon himself with his warriors to go out into the mountains and hunt, not game, but his own people. He took pleasure in the bereavement of young men, belittling them underneath his own sword. And when the thirst of the hunt of young men did not quench his thirst, he took it upon himself to deliver unspeakable cruelty to the young women of this land behind closed doors of his great drinking hall. It was fair to say there were many young women giving birth to children that could not call this cruel man their father, and any brave souls that might dispute his rule, Tegid was very quick to snuff them out, find a strong tree and hang them high for all to see. The people of this land found themselves subjected to be prisoners and slaves to the cruel, lustful satisfaction of this ruler. But with each hanging, each fatherless child that was born, each hunt that claimed the blood of a young man, this land started to hear the cries. Now, for all of you that come to Wales or call Wales your home, you know this land is ancient. And the mountains and the forests and the streams and the lakes that are here are bearers to many stories. But it's said if you were born upon this land, the land of Cymru, the mountains that we are born from, will always be our protector. And it is said that the spirits of this land that inhabit our mountains, our lakes and our forests started to hear the cries and started to taste the blood that were polluting the soil of this land. Tegid's cruelty was no longer going to be tolerated, not by the people, but by the spirits of this land. Many signs were given to Tegid, signs such as eagles dropping half-decapitated deer at his feet, great thunderstorms during his days of hunts. But Tegid thought of himself higher than the gods, higher than the spirits of old. So he decided, in open defiance of their warnings, to conduct a great feast. A feast so lavish during a great time of famine that it would only truly anger the spirits of this land further. All those who attended, all those who were invited, were as equal to their cruelty of their own people as Tegid was. In fact, he spared very little expense upon this great feast. He bought the finest wines, the meads, and even brought in exotic dancers and great musicians to fill the hall with lavish merriment, to show that he had no fear, and to show the people that could hear the music outside that he was higher than the gods, and that the stories and the rumours about the spirits bringing vengeance upon him had very little meaning and very little truth in it. But throughout the night, when the people in this great hall started to get heavier in the head and dimmer in the eye, things started to change. Amongst the musicians was a great harpist, and he was as beautiful in heart as his music that he played. But he was given a clear warning by the spirits as he played his harp. Within the great hall, when the lords and the ladies were near to the end of their merrymaking, a wee bird perched upon the great hall and started playing music that only a sober man could hear. But the music that was being played through this bird started to bring a message. Vieth hawr diareth. Vieth hawr diareth. And in Old Welsh, the bird was giving him a clear warning that vengeance was soon come. So the bird led this harpist out of the hall, along the stream, high up into the hills, where he perched against a rock. And as the harpist lay there in comfort, this bird continued to play sweet tunes that soon sent this musician into a deep slumber. And throughout the night he slept, until come morning, when he arose his eyes, saw nothing but deep, dark water. The great drinking hall at Tegid was nowhere to be seen. The whole valley was submerged in deep dark water. And as the harpist approached the water, he saw his harp floating towards his hand. But before he can grasp it, he swore he could hear the tormented souls of those submerged under the water. And legend has it, even today, if you stroll upon this water, deep in the night when the full moon is at its highest, you may be able to see the remains of the tormented souls that are trapped in this water. So may this legend serve as a warning to all those with faceless greed. They'll stem into Wales with nothing but lustful intent for their own ill-wished pleasures. For the mountains are our protectors and our provider of all our needs. And you should be wary when you come here of our vengeful spirits and keepers of these mountains. Diolch yn fawr for listening. And I'll see you next time for our strolls throughout the mountains of Cymru. Hwyl fawr.